Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to Build It, Ship It, Learn It. Very abstract title, but you will see I'll explain everything. So let's jump right in. I'm Torben, senior software engineer and tech lead at Evernest, and I co-founded a startup in the US in the IoT space shortly after I joined Evernest here in Hamburg. And I joined Evernest about 2 years ago. We were only like 2 to 3 devs in the beginning, so very small team, and we grew from 2 to 3 devs to like 10 devs now. So we're constantly growing, and we are building the future of real estate. What does it mean? I'll share in a moment here. My stack is mainly Python, Django, JavaScript, React, Expo Next.js. I work in Google, Cloud, AWS, and much more. But as you can see, I'm not a mobile dev. So I don't have any experience in mobile engineering, and I've never worked in native or like Android code or in iOS native. So, but we still were able to build an app with an Evernest with a small team. The goal of this presentation is mainly to tell a story, to give you insights about like how a small company can achieve cool things with the process that I'm going to explain. So what is Evernest and who is Evernest? Just so you know, because it's a small company, we are in 5 German cities. So since Tuesday, we are also in Madrid. So now we're an international company. So it's more than this, and we're growing to different countries. It's really fun. And yeah, we are 20 people in tech, around 20 people. I think now actually it's 25, so we're still growing and adopting and getting more people on board. We have developers, UI UX developer, UI UX and product people, and we are very product focused within our company. Our focus is luxury real estate, and we are building the next-gen real estate platform. So within the industry in real estate, we have like platforms like ImmoScout. They focus on people that want to buy houses, but not on the people in the back end. So the agents, or Makler in German, some of you know them. So today I will talk about around 15 minutes, and the main focus of this talk is empowered product development. What is it? How do we do it? What does it mean? I'll explain this in this talk. I will then do a little storytelling and explain to you how we were able to actually use Expo, the framework Expo, to achieve quite the cool things. And after that, a short recap and summary. Okay, so what is it? What is empowered product development? We, in Evernest, we defined this process pretty much ourselves. And we are doing this all the time. So there's build it, ship it, and learn it. And with build it, we mean building the smallest possible version of something, the smallest possible product, an MVP basically. Larger companies do the same thing. So with an agile development, you do, for example, at Spotify or any other company where you have larger teams, you do similar things, but we really nail it down, and we always try to do those 3 steps: build it, ship it, learn it. And we probably have some product people in the audience. I'm well aware there's way more behind the scenes. So as I'm a software engineer, I'm focusing on the engineering track. So this is what the engineers do. And with this, build it, ship it, learn it, I would like to show you on an example what we achieved within Evernest, how you can use it yourself. So the goal that we had in mind were to build an MVP, an app. So we wanted to build an app, and we had some requirements. For example, we wanted to have notifications, we wanted to have a map with additional data, we wanted to show contact, import, export, and use of camera. These requirements came from the product people. So we knew eventually we'll need to do those things, and we need to find a solution that we can hit those requirements. For the very first MVP, we had the following goals. So we wanted to add the very first real estate agents to the platform. We wanted to have authentication in place, build system in place, and also, which is the most important thing, we wanted to have a list with possible new clients for our agents. So very simple, very straightforward. Okay, so how can we achieve it, especially with such a small team? So we were like 2 senior React engineers and 1 full stack engineer, which was me. Then no experience with mobile. Like I said, none of us in the team had actually experience, so we still wanted to achieve this goal. In the meantime, we also had other things we worked on, for example, the website and just building the infrastructure in general for like a new startup. So without any experience, we considered multiple technologies that we could use. For example, Flutter, React Native, native Android and iOS, progressive web apps, and many more. So why did we end up with React Native? As you can see, we have some React experience, and it was almost like a leap of faith where we just decided, okay, let's try it out. Let's try out how React Native works, if it's like possible for us as a small team to get into it and see if it's like doable. Also, it's very well adapted, and I don't know if some of you heard the talk about Flutter in the just before this talk. So we also considered Flutter, but we as a team decided, hey, there's a big learning curve, new programming language, might be a few difficulties. So we decided to go with React Native, and we knew that React Native was able to hit all those requirements. So we chose that. So most of you already know React Native, I assume, or if not, it's like the mobile version of React. So if you know React, it's like the mobile approach for React projects. And React Native is by Meta, so from Facebook originally, and you can develop Android app, iOS apps, and now also like desktop apps and macOS TV apps and other apps. And yeah, it's open source, you can easily use it, it's great. But React Native alone can get complicated. And we knew that right in front, because from experience from other people we heard that the build system can be difficult, setting up like locally everything to get it to work, and it just takes like a learning curve just to get everything started. So then we came across Expo, and I don't know, has any one of you heard of Expo before? Maybe raise your hand. Yeah, just 1, 2 people. Okay, so I will explain to you what Expo is, because it's really cool, and I highly recommend you check it out. With Expo, you can make any app and run it anywhere. That's the big claim of Expo. And I will just go through the points so you understand why we chose Expo and what's the big benefit. The development process is one code base, so you all have everything in one place. Using Expo, you can deploy to all those devices straight away. And you can easily debug, and it has other capabilities. For example, you can add additional libraries like for push notifications, authentication, and a lot of things come out of the box with Expo. So then there's Expo Go. And Expo Go is like a native app that Expo provides that you can use to deploy your code right away to any device. So let's say you have multiple engineers working on this app. You can just install Expo Go, and you can install this app right away without any like build times, no hassle. It's super easy. Definitely, I highly recommend you check it out. So after you are done with the development process, they also support you in the easy distribution and a build system. So they give you a one-line command to deploy the apps to iOS and Android. So it's just one line. You don't need Xcode. You don't need to configure any build system, nothing. It's pretty straightforward and really cool. So after you've done that and you deployed your app, they also do something which some of you might not know. It's over-the-air updates, and I was also not aware that that was even possible. I'm like well aware for website, it's pretty easy. If you deploy a new version, that's pretty straightforward. But if you deploy apps, usually you would have to build the standalone version, push it out to the app stores, and then you get the update. With OTA, provided by Expo, you can just fix things on the fly, or like you can fix things. You hit Expo Publish, and all those changes will be directly served on your phone. Really, really easy to use. And we use it every day. Okay, so after we started using this concept and used those technologies, we built our very first MVP. And I mentioned earlier, MVPs are supposed to be small and easy. So this is what the first MVP for Evernest looked like. And yes, it actually looked like this. We had like very bad designs and very, very ugly things first in the app. But that was okay, because after the first few tests, we learned, okay, we want to redesign this completely. And actually, we removed the green bar completely that you see here, the progress bar. So on the screen, you see a map. So that was pretty straightforward, a map with multiple properties later on it. We had one screen where we showed possible new clients, and then one screen where you can log out. So authentication was there, everything was there. And we achieved this, and then we shipped it. And like I mentioned earlier, Expo has a very cool mechanism to ship your product. And it's called Expo Build, or now it's EAS Build. They changed the naming a bit. But essentially, you put one command, and you can deploy it and build the standalone version right from Expo services. So when you ship, for us, it only took 2 to 3 weeks to build a product with authentication, everything else, 2 to 3 engineers. And we were able to ship the product right away to our agents. And we had quite a good adoption rate. In the beginning, 89% of our agents used the app. So that was quite the achievement for such a small team. And after you ship the product, there's different things that you can do to learn a few things. One is analytics, everyone knows. There's Firebase analytics for mobile apps, bug reports, for example, in Sentry. Then you can do root cause analysis, value stream maps, and other things. And also you can do KPIs or OKRs to learn even more and analyze how your product is performing. Once you learn something out of the product, you obviously have to iterate. So you do the same thing, you adopt all those ideas that you find during the learning phase, and you put them back in the app. So you build and build again. And what happens if you do all that for 2 years almost? And by the way, while you onboard new people, have freelancers ongoing and everything, it leads to having even more features and allow a full-fledged app. So, and happy smiley faces. So yeah, people really like the process. Engineers that joined the company or freelancers were easily onboarded. And we have a maintainable, sustainable, really cool app that we can use. And so far, we have not reached the limit of React Native for Expo, and we keep on growing. There's also downsides with Expo, and I have to mention them because you might think, okay, that's the solution to everything, but it's not. So authentication is hard. It's always hard. I've never seen a project where it's like not hard, and it's the same here. It's not out of the box and not free, so you have to put in some work. Then expectation management. With this process that I showed you, you can run into the issue that people expect everything to be easy. But that's not the case, obviously. Sometimes things are harder, sometimes things you have to figure out. And also, the design of your app can sometimes not look great if you don't put much effort into it. So, but you get a lot of features, and you can use that depending on where you put your focus, obviously. Then overarching strategy is important. So if you just iterate all the time without having like a clear goal in mind, that's also difficult. So have a strategy set. Then for us, testing was difficult, and we have still not solved it fully. So obviously you can do Jest testing, and other mobile testing frameworks are out there, but it's not as easy as on the web. Especially, well, for us, we have never fully solved it. Maybe I can learn something today, though. Yeah, and then also not all iOS and Android APIs are available, so some of them are just missing. For example, special sensors you cannot use with Expo, and sometimes they adopt and integrate the technology into Expo, but sometimes they don't. So it depends on what you want to do. When you reach the limit of Expo, though, and you just want to do React Native and native libraries, you can eject out of Expo. So there's always a way out, and when you start a project, you might as well just start and see where it takes you. And that's actually the biggest learning I want you to take away. So next time you start a project, definitely try the build it, ship it, learn it approach. It works well. And if you want to build a mobile app, try out Expo. It's cool for MVPs, smaller apps, news apps, other types of apps. So check it out. And yeah, big shout out to Charlie and James and the entire team from the Expo team, because I think they're building a really cool product. And you can reach their domain at expo.dev. Have a look, definitely. And yeah, thank you.